Morning, friends. Pastor Chuck Blair here. Great to have you joining me this morning for 10 minutes of morning calm. And today we're looking at an interesting one, which deals with how do we acknowledge God in our lives. And it's that phrase. Maybe I'm the only one who wrestles with this, but that phrase, we need to acknowledge God, always seems a little hard for me. Not that it's hard to acknowledge God, obviously, but it seems to make God into like some equation that or an algebra class that once we get it and we get the equation, we can start solving using the mathematical knowledge that we have. That somehow that's acknowledging God, that God sort of is this intellectual construct out there, or this list of beliefs and suppositions. Now, I want to say there's nothing wrong in terms of belief around God, like at that level. I mean, again, beautiful stuff to think through this and to think about it theologically. New Church, we're very much around the idea of now it's permitted to enter into the mysteries of faith. Like we can look at this stuff intellectually, we can move it all around, and that's really good. And yet there's something much deeper about acknowledging God in our lives, and that's what I want to read for you here. And it's dealing with the story of Abram, where God tells Abram this. He says, "I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you I will curse, and you and all the clans of the ground will be blessed." He's talking about blessings. And again, don't see it as like there's those people and there's this people. It's like it's within us. There's certain parts of us that are blessed. There's certain parts that God, the appearance is God curses, but the reality is God just is going to help us to get rid of them because they're no good. They don't serve. And this is where he talks about blessing. Uh, what this means is that all happiness belongs to those who acknowledge the Lord in their hearts. This can be seen from the symbolism of blessing as involving absolutely all gifts from the Lord, both those that are good and those that are true. So it's talking about this acknowledging God is acknowledging here. It's not this intellectual thing. It's acknowledging in the heart. And how do we acknowledge God in our heart? Well, we acknowledge God in our heart. Just to use the language here when we see the blessing and we get that the Lord's given all gifts, that it's just this openness of, oh yeah, there's all these blessings around, all these blessings that abound. And the second part of that is that there's all these gifts. That's a very different way, I think, because it moves it from up here to down here. When we start to see that, it's like, wow, it's so powerful. I was having dinner with someone this weekend. We were talking shop. They were talking about religion with me. It was a very good conversation, and we look over and there's just this group of other people gathered around standing, and they're just having a wonderful time. I mean, they're just obviously so enjoying each other's company, just thriving in that environment, just having fun, and it's great energy around that. We can look at that and we can say, all right, so there's an example where I see, just to come back to the last to the quote there we can see a blessing. And there we can see God's gifts, like right there. It's pretty incredible. And that's the place from which we can acknowledge God. I think, folks, that is a different way of maybe proselytizing or evangelizing, because it's much softer, it's much more beautiful, it's much more gracious. It's incredible to watch in the way the world can start to open when we start to see those blessings and those gifts that the Lord's given all around. Now, does that mean there are days that are really tough and it's hard, if not impossible, to see it? Absolutely. There are days where I'd be really careful coaching someone who's in the middle of something, like someone who's just lost a loved one, to tell them, "Oh yeah, remember all the blessings," because it's sort of Pollyannish. That's just not where they are. But maybe you can remember that as you talk to them. Maybe you can remember, that there are blessings, and even in this really hard place, there are blessings and gifts here that maybe you can pass on, or at the very least bear witness to. And that's a way of acknowledging God, even in really, really hard situations. So that's the thought for today, folks. You want to know how to acknowledge God in our lives? Look for those two words. Look for the blessings, look for the gifts, both in yourself and in others, and understand that's all from God, and see how that kind of permeates out, how that kind of like leaks out into the world in this beautiful way that colors things in amazing colors. Just as simple as that. So with that, friends, what we're going to do now is we're going to shift, and we're going to do our little like settling part, which I'm going to take a breath, and then we're going to go through and do a little meditation, a little prayer, a little blessing. And yeah, that's what we're going to do today. So, with that, friends, let's get a little breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, bring you home. Amen. All right, friends, let's give a little hello to folks. Give a little cheery hello here. Sorry. All right. Okay, couple of comments there. Linda, good morning to you. Karen, good morning to you. And Karen, thank you for that very nice note yesterday. I deeply, deeply appreciated it. It was definitely was a fun service to preach. And now flipping over to the New Church Live page. Give a little cheery hello over there as well. All right. Marcus, good morning to you, buddy. Great to see. And Sherry writes, we can see blessings in nature and little children all the time. It's so true. And oh man. And it's so hard to do. Like I just want to acknowledge it's so hard to do when we're just kind of wow, life is feels like it's on a downward trend. But it's there, and it's there for us to observe, witness, and enjoy. So, friends, just so great. Thank you so much for joining me today. And whether you join us on Sundays at New Church Live or during the week for these 10 minutes of morning calm, it's wonderful to have you part of our church family. Take care, my friends. Bye bye.